Have you ever wondered what goes on behind the table at a dance competition? Exactly what are the judges looking for anyway? This is Making the Impact, a dance competition podcast. Each week, we'll cover a different topic related to the world of competitive dance from the perspective of the judges behind the table. We all know by now that dance is an expensive activity. From costumes to tuition to competition fees, it all adds up. Today on Making the Impact, we're looking at the many ways studios and families can fundraise to support their dancers and offset some of the costs that come with pursuing competitive dance.
Hello, Dance World, and happy Thanksgiving from Making the Impact. I'm your host, Courtney Ortiz, and I'm here with my co-host, Lesley Mealor.
Happy Thanksgiving, Court, and happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Courtney, what are you thankful for this year?
I'm thankful for getting my body back to being healthier and taking the time to do that and having the time to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to focus on my injuries that I've accumulated through the years and focusing on taking time to make my health better. So I'm very thankful for the resources and the access to the healthcare that I have in New York City to do that, and my physical therapist at the moment.
Good for you. Yes, I'm so happy you are in PT and hopefully, just going to feel better and learn more about how you can move better. Because as we age, you have to do things differently. I can't get out of bed the same way I used to. I can't put my feet on the floor the same way I used to. So just learning more about your body. And like you said, the resources we have here in the tri-state area are just, I'm super grateful for that as well.
Okay, what are you thankful for, Lesley?
I'm thankful that I'm married
Yes!
and that the wedding went so well, that you were there and you documented all of it.
I was like the secret videographer of the wedding.
Yes, I didn't even have to hire anybody. Courtney just did it for me for free. Yes, the wedding was beautiful. I don't know that we've recorded an episode talking about the wedding yet.
We haven't.
So,
this is your first recording back as a married woman.
It is. I'm Lesley Senge now. I will probably be Lesley Mealor professionally, but on paper, I'm Lesley Senge.
Are you? So there's Mealor's gone, legally.
Well, I mean, Lesley Mealor Senge will be what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not going to, I'm not changing my email address. My Instagram will be the same. I've been Lesley Mealor for 40 years. So legal people will know me as my new name. But
do you have to get a new, ID and passport?
I have to get new everything, and I haven't started. Well, maybe as of this release date, I will have started that. But as of this recording, I have not started that. And I'm exhausted just thinking about it.
Oh, my gosh. But everybody out there, if you were following along, all of our fans who have been listening to Lesley and I chat your ear off for 7 seasons on the podcast, and many of you had been following along on the wedding festivities and journey. It was a beautiful day in Savannah, Georgia. The weather was absolutely perfect. The venue was so pretty, and Lesley looked gorgeous as a bride, and we had the best time. The food was amazing. The company was amazing. There were so many Making the Impact guests that were in attendance at the wedding.
So many dancers, so much dancing. And I have to say, choreographer Dr. Chloe Roberts, IDA judge, choreographed our wedding dance and was very proud of my husband, Matt, who is not a dancer. But we had 7 rehearsals. We learned a Roomba. And he nailed it. And she could not get over how well he did. And I couldn't either. It was amazing.
He did so good.
Didn't he?
Yes. I mean, the lifts were great. Effortless. Knew how to transition you down. I feel like you were more nervous than Matt was, honestly. You're stressed about your dress.
I was my dress was very heavy, y'all. You have to make sure you have a dress rehearsal. And we had a dress rehearsal and a check rehearsal.
Literally.
Yes, and everybody worked together to bustle that dress so that we could rehearse. Because, it was probably that dress was probably a good 7 or 8 pounds.
Yeah.
So, you add that onto a human being, that's a lot.
It is. Trying to do chaînés.
Right, trying to do chaînés, and this dress keeps going. So, yes, always have a dress rehearsal and a tech rehearsal before your wedding. Yeah, but it was great, and I have you can see the dance on my Instagram. It is there, and again, also shout out to Squirrel Trench Auto, Morris Party, who edited that song, just using all the IDA contacts.
Yes, we are. And we love it. So congratulations on an amazing wedding. I hope it was everything you dreamed of. And I was so happy to be there by your side.
It was great. Yeah. So highly recommend getting married.
Yay! Thankful for
Oh, man.
love, everyone. We're
Thankful for
thankful for
love.
love. Well,
Yes.
over here in Thanksgiving land and podcast world, we are thankful for fundraisers today on Making the
Amen.
Impact because dance is expensive, but we have some guests who know a thing or two about how to fundraise and make that dance experience a little less expensive. So can't wait to learn from them on this chat. But before we do, let's hear from our sponsors. Dancers, choreographers, and teachers, are you ready to take your routines to the next level? At Impact Dance Adjudicators, our online judges' critiques give you the professional feedback you deserve. And here's why we're the best in the business. All of our judges are pre-screened industry professionals, many with over 10 years of experience in the judges' seat, known for their fabulous critiques at competitions across the country. With IDA's online judges' critiques, you can request a genre-specific judge to get accurate feedback tailored to your submitted dance style. And no more waiting around for weeks to receive back your critique. We guarantee to have your feedback returned to you within 5 business days. And if you need an even faster turnaround, we're proud to be the only service in the industry that offers 24-hour rush delivery. Our exclusive post-critique additional feedback goes beyond the standard critique that you get at competition. Your judge will pause the video and break down your corrections, offering actionable advice and exercises to take back into the rehearsal studio. And with critiques starting at just $35, we offer competitive pricing in the online critique market. IDA's online judges' critiques have been serving the dance community since 2017, with hundreds of happy customers who return year after year and 5-star reviews. Visit impactdanceadjudicators.com/online critiques or click the link in our show notes to submit your routine and experience why our online critique service is the best in the business. All right, Dance World, we are here and we are back with our next Making the Impact episode over here. And we're talking today all about something that I can't speak on at all, and that is fundraising for dance. Now, you're probably wondering, why can't you speak on that, Courtney? Well, I'm not a dance mom and I'm a dance teacher, but I'm not teaching regularly in the studios. But I will have to say that as someone who is heavily immersed in the competitive dance scene, as a teacher, as a judge, as a convention teacher, this hobby for many is not cheap. So we, as parents that are here joining us today, the parents who are here today joining us on the podcast, have discovered ways to help fundraise for their studios and other dance parents to make this hobby or sport or extracurricular activity that their kids are doing a little bit more affordable for all, because those competition fees just keep going up. And so do the costume expenses, and so does your tuition. So dance is a very expensive sport and hobby, but I'm so excited to learn from these guests who are also Making the Impact diehard fans who we casted from our Facebook group. So I can't wait to meet them, get to know them, and learn from them about fundraising today. The very first guest that I'm excited to welcome actually recommended this topic. So we always poll our fans and say, if you have a topic that you're dying to hear on Making the Impact, let us know. Shoot us a message, email us. And fundraising for dance was the topic of choice from her. So I'm thrilled that she was available for our recording time and date. And she is coming to us from Pennsylvania. She is a dance mom, and I can't wait to learn more. And I'm excited to welcome Christine Brocious to the pod. Welcome, Christine.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here. I love listening to the podcast. Me and my daughter in the car on the way to dance listen to the podcast all of the time. And the tips and hearing just from you guys is great, and we love it. I am a dance parent. As you mentioned, my daughter's been dancing for 6 years. I started as a cheer coach and did a lot of fundraising and stuff and started a cheer organization there. And now at our current studio, I've been the acro teacher for the last 5 years as well.
Nice.
So I love fundraising, and it's a lot of what I do there at the studio. So it's exciting to be here.
Yes.
Yeah, we can't wait to learn more. And when you kind of pitched yourself, we were like, oh yeah, she's the one.
Yes. Yes, because there's
a
a lot of logistics, it sounds like, when it goes into how to properly fundraise. So I am excited to hear about your experience behind that. And Also, just out of curiosity, so you came from the cheer world. Did you plan to become an acro teacher or no? It just
No,
happened.
no, it happened. There are a lot of differences, and I've learned a lot in that transition. Cheer, you're doing stuff on a mat and sneakers, and you have to learn the safety aspect of doing things on a hard floor. So
Mm.
there's additional steps of getting a skill in cheer than there is in
Mm.
dance, right? You can go nail it on a spring floor, but are you landing it correctly? Like it's one thing I stress, toe ball heel, right? Landing them correctly so that you can have the correct landing on a hard floor. So there is a lot of differences. And then a lot more of the flexibility
Mm.
aspect, it comes into play too, which sometimes I try to stay away from more
Mm.
so at the studio because it isn't my expertise because I am more tumbling. So I do have support there as the acro teacher in those types of skills at the studio.
Yeah, tumbling. That's what we had at my studio when I was growing up. It was not called acro, it was called a tumbling class. And
Yep,
and
exactly.
now I think that it's kind of blended into acro dance, which involves
Hmm.
flexibility and contortion and hypermobility and all of
Yep,
those extra elements. You're not just learning how to flip anymore, you're learning how to do all these other
exactly.
things. So,
Yep.
yeah, whole new world, but that's awesome. And I know that acro teachers are very much in demand at a lot of studios. So I'm glad that you could
Hmm.
fill that void at your studio and for your dancer. And
Definitely.
glad that you're here to join us today.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. All right. Our next special guest is another dance parent and dance teacher and Making the Impact fan. They are joining us from Kansas, and I'm excited to welcome to the pod Megan Woods. Welcome.
Excited.
Yes. So thrilled to have you here and can't wait to learn from you. Thank you for reaching out and pitching yourself for this episode.
Of course, I told my daughter when you had messaged that I would be on the show. I told my daughter, and she was like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I think she's just excited to hear how this goes.
Yeah. It just makes me so happy to know that there are dancers listening with their parents.
Yeah.
Because I think that
Yeah.
Lesley, tell me if you feel the same, but when we started this podcast, I was kind of hoping that dancers would listen. That was the goal for me.
Yeah.
Teachers and dancers, I didn't think that so many dance parents would love this as much as they do, which is
Yeah.
great.
I definitely agree. I thought we were going to get more teachers and maybe playing it in class or taking a day and here's a topic we should listen to on the week after competition or something. But yeah, no, the amount of parent support is really, really exciting. And yeah, we're just grateful that you guys all listen with your kids.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I kind of pick and choose, I'll
That makes
listen to something
sense.
first. And then I feel like it is a good one for her to listen to.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, hey, come listen. Or I might be listening to it in the car and she jumps in from a pickup and she kind of joins in. Sometimes she's like, I don't want to listen to dance right now because she had just gotten back from dance.
I get it.
We get it.
Times, especially closer to competition season is usually when she's the most excited to listen to it.
Awesome.
That makes total sense.
I love it. Well,
Yeah.
Megan, if you could share a little bit more about you.
Yeah. So I am a dance mom and a dance teacher from Kansas. I actually started dancing later in life. I was 12 when I started dancing. And really, I played sports growing up and I was the only girl in a family of boys. And so my mom had said, Megan, what do you want to do when you get to high school? And I was like, Mom, I think I want to be on the dance team. That sounds cool. And so she took me to our local studio, and I live in a pretty small town. We're a military town. So there was just one studio to go to. So she took me there and I started dancing and started dancing in 7th grade. By 8th grade, tried out for the high school dance team and had made it.
Nice.
So just continued to dance through high school. I did dance collegiately at a very small university in Missouri, and I danced for a season and ended up transferring to a different university. And so when I transferred, I kind of took a long hiatus from dance and didn't do much except for maybe choreograph something for my sorority here and there, but didn't dance again until my daughter turned 3 and I had signed her up at the same studio that I grew up dancing at. So it was really sweet for her to have the same teacher that I had
Aww.
growing up. And then met some really sweet friends who were teachers. They had, known that I had danced growing up. And so they said, would you mind teaching a class here and there? So slowly started, one season with one dance that I taught and then grew into more. Right now we are at a new studio. This is our 2nd year being open. So I help our owner as much as I can and I am the director of our adapted arts program. So I founded adapted arts for our studio. Where anybody can dance at any age, any ability or disability. And really my job is, I teach dance for fun, and I teach dance because my kids love it, but I'm actually a speech pathologist during the day and homeschool my kids. So I kind of wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what sparked our adapted arts program is my time as a speech pathologist.
Wow.
Cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, you do wear a lot of hats.
Yes. Awesome. And you help fundraise in the process of all of it.
Yes, a little bit here and there. We try and set things up where we can, when we can.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, we're so happy to have you both here on this episode. So let's jump in and learn about fundraising.
Yes. All right. Well, I want to start with Christine. You've been fundraising in different capacities in different organizations for a while. How did you get started with like the cheer organization? Did somebody ask you to do it? Did you volunteer to do it? Or did you have prior experience before that?
So I was a cheerleader. That's where I started. And
Okay.
then I moved to a small town. I grew up at the beach in New Jersey, in this big town. And then I moved to a very rural town in Benton. It's called Benton in Pennsylvania. And they didn't have much here. So I founded a cheer organization, and with the goal of everything being as low cost as possible. I remember when I was younger, my parents struggling to pay. All-star cheer is expensive,
Yeah.
extremely. And so my goal was to find the cheapest uniforms that still can compete in the all-star world, and, the best budget shoes, but then also offering fundraising at the same time, because I didn't want to have to turn anyone away. And, being a smaller area, you want to be able to also take what you can get, because, there's not as many people here. So that's really where it started. But I also have done stuff with like the parent teacher organization. I have 2 sons, so with youth football. So kind of all across the board, there's been fundraising. And then we started, my friend started a dance studio. And when she started it, fundraising was a big thing on her mind as well. So we kind of dove right in when the studio started and started fundraising right away.
Oh,
Cool.
nice.
All right. Well, so that is pretty extensive. And like you said, when you're in a smaller area, you definitely have to take advantage of every opportunity, to be able to gain your customers and keep them, because there's other things to do, and sometimes people are choosing the cheapest thing to do.
Exactly. But everyone should have the opportunity if we can help it.
Yeah, absolutely. Megan, what's your experience like from the beginning of fundraising in your life? Were you fundraising when you were on dance team?
So our dance team would do a fundraiser. I think my very first year we sold Yankee candles, which trying to hustle grandparents and aunts and uncles to buy Yankee candles doesn't profit much.
Yeah.
But then we switched to, we found sponsors and really we would go to companies and find sponsors to help cover the uniform for the year and dance camp for the year. And that was a much easier way to meet. But we also had a very set amount, maybe $500. I honestly can't remember. And so it was a lot easier to get to that goal because I just knew, I'm like, I just need so many people to get to that price. But then we would fundraise for little things, for church and for my daughter does pageants. So we did a little bit for pageants, and we would just really start small. And we live in a smaller community, so it's a lot harder to fundraise and to ask the same friends and family for money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that from my cheerleading. We fundraised for cheerleading, but not for dance, because we just didn't do all that. We didn't do all as much as everybody does now. But it's hard when you don't have a lot of people to ask. And I like the concept of asking companies, for sponsorship rather than just individuals to buy a candle or wrapping paper. We sold a lot of wrapping paper.
or popcorn or whatever, whatever it is, the small items.
I'm curious to know because, like I said, I'm very unfamiliar. So obviously, it sounds like that there can be individual fundraising that you do on your own as your own entity through your own family. But then is there also fundraising that can be done as a group collective through the studio? And how does that work? Can you do both at the same time, or do you have to choose one or the other?
Yeah. So for our studio, most of the fundraising is individual. because we are a smaller company team. So the majority of our studio is recreational. And so when it comes to fundraising, we'll say if there's a large opportunity, like if there's an opportunity that comes up, we'll say, hey, company dancers, if you want to be involved, you can, but we never require anybody to do fundraising. It's really on a case by case individual basis, but anybody is welcome to fundraise independently as much as they want.
Ours is more group based. Because most of our fundraising is game of chance and raffles and stuff like that, it has to be done as a group to be covered under that license. But we do a lot of events. We do a lot of raffles. We don't sell as much. That has not been as beneficial to us. I mean, always love a Krispy Kreme donut fundraiser, but
Yeah.
I have found that those types of fundraisers are for much, much larger groups. For instance, like at the parent teacher organization, we, do very well with that. But we typically have between only about 15 to 20 people participating in our fundraisers. So the sales usually do not go as well for us as the big events and the raffles.
Now, when you do raffles, like tell me what that process is like of how are you getting items for the raffles?
Yes.
And how does that money that you make get distributed for your team?
Yeah, so we've done many different raffles. We've done meat raffles where we raffle off a pig or a cow or
Oh my God.
Okay, Pennsylvania.
Yes, exactly.
My mind is blown right now.
Like the first winner won half of a cow. And then the second and third winner won like a quarter of the cow. So it was like a whole cow raffled off.
Wow.
So we've done right now, actually, we're doing a gift card raffle where we are selling $20 tickets and in the month of November, and then every day in the month of December, we pick a winner and you win at least a minimum of a $25 gift certificate. So what we've asked of all of our families, we first say, hey, who wants to participate? And they let us know. And then we figure out how many that is. And we say, okay, for this instance, we say, okay, everyone needs to get 2 gift certificates that are at least $25 or gift cards. They can either be donated or you can purchase them yourselves. And then we just ask everyone to sell 20 tickets and then they get the profit off the 20 tickets. So that's how in this situation it's covered. But for the cow, what we did is we took the full price of the cow and we divided it up by how many people were participated. So maybe you had to sell 40 tickets and the first 10 tickets went to paying for the cow and then the other 30 tickets became profit.
So now are you reaching out to a farmer
How do you get the
dairy?
cow?
Like, where does this cow come from? I need more information.
So we have actually a local place that butchers cows. That's their business.
Okay.
And they did give us a deal. A lot of times when you talk to them, they did give us a deal, but it's the same thing with anything. Like we do sportsman's raffles and they work with us for them as well. We always try to get donations for anything that we possibly can. We do bingos and we need sponsors for bingos. We ask everyone to go out and get a $100 sponsor to participate in the raffle or in the bingo. So either they're getting sponsors or part of their sales or whatever they're selling is covering the cost of the prizes.
Wow. This is really interesting.
Would you say that most of your company members participate?
So our competition team is about 25 total. We usually get probably about 75% participation, but it really depends on each person, right? So if my daughter, I'm paying like over $1,000 for every competition.
Oof.
Someone may only be paying, $200 for a competition.
Right.
So we set our fundraisers out at the beginning of the year in our competition contract so that everyone can decide what level of effort they want to put in or they need to put in.
Yeah.
So, for me, I'm doing every single one. For someone who, maybe has a mini and they're only doing, a group dance and maybe a duo, they may just do 1 or 2 and they may be able to cover their entire comp season and comp fees.
I think that's cool how it's laid out like at the top of the year. So you can already know that there's options on ways to fundraise through the studio. I think that's really clever and smart. I don't know if that's something that all studios do. I'm not I have no idea. So maybe all of our listeners out there, like head to our Facebook community and let us know if this is something that exists at your studio, or maybe it's something that should exist at your studio, because I do think that it is nice to know that, okay, we're going to have 4 different fundraisers throughout the year, based on you're attending 5 different competitions, based on how many solos you have, how many groups you have, like it is helpful to know that there are ways to save or hope to save with just participating in a fundraiser. So like, I'm also assuming that someone has to kind of lead the charge with this, and it's usually volunteer parent that is doing that. And is the studio involved at all? Like, is the owners involved in this? How does that work?
Yeah, so for us, it's a little bit of both. Our big fundraiser that we did this year, it was myself and my studio owner is the one who organized it and sent it to parents. But we also had another fundraiser that was actually just for the studio. So all the funds went back to the studio versus individual people. It was, we wanted to have a scholarship account. We wanted to have like a continuing education account that our teachers can use that funds if they need to.
Nice.
So that was organized by parents.
That's nice.
And then sometimes it's just a free for all. We do have a little bit of everything. Yeah.
Interesting.
I love the idea of fundraising for the studio because, it's a newish sort of thing, I think, to have a continuing education offering for your teachers. I think that's really a really nice perk of working at a studio that does that. But that money's got to come from somewhere, so that's a nice idea.
Yeah. Yeah. We wanted to set up, it would be great if we could set up a nonprofit for that. We're kind of working through that right now. So right now it's an account that the money from, we did a bake sale during our town hosts this really big, fun Oktoberfest.
Nice.
For a weekend. And so our studio performs, it's advertised as a Bavarian dance but we wear dirndls and we turn on a German song and we just do a fun little dance. Our whole studio can come. So our teeny tiny 3-year-olds all the way up to our senior dancers. And so then that afternoon we host a bake sale. So we ask our dancers and their families to bake goods. And we do let them know ahead of time. We're like, hey, this is for our whole studio. Anybody can participate. Because I think a lot of times it just comes off as fundraisers are for the company dancers.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so then it feels very singled out. And we just wanted it to be open. We want our studio to feel like a family that really anybody can be involved. And we want that participation from the recreational families and not just the company families. And so we had a great parent head it up, and then a couple other parents volunteer their time for that as well to organize it. And then the money that we received, because the studio wasn't putting in any money, the Oktoberfest let us set up our table for free, whereas vendors usually have to pay a couple $100 to set up. Mm-hmm. And the Oktoberfest is actually on our main street and our studio is on the main street.
Perfect.
So it was really easy for us to transfer food over. Mm. But like I said, we did let our studio know ahead of time, like this is funds for our studio. Because we don't want people to think, well, I'm doing the work. How come that fund isn't coming back into my account?
Yep.
And so we say, hey, we want to be able to have a scholarship for a family who might need it. Mm-hmm. Or we want a scholarship for our adapted dances, or we want the ability, our teachers to be able to attend a CEU or to travel somewhere, whereas we might not be able to, without that scholarship. Mm.
Dancers, have you ever gotten feedback at competition and thought, wait, what did that correction even mean? Or teachers, have you ever wished for feedback that helps you bring your choreographic vision to life and make sure your story is actually reading on stage? Why wait until you hit the stage to get an unbiased opinion? Now you can have a fresh set of eyes on your dance before you hit the stage with IDA's online judges' critiques. Our critiques are done by professional, pre-screened judges from IDA, many with decades of experience behind the table. You can even request a judge to specialize in your submitted dance genre, so you're getting feedback that actually makes sense for your style. From technique to performance, execution, and costuming, your judge will offer personalized feedback based on your requests. Our service guarantees delivery within 5 business days, or upgrade to 24-hour rush delivery for those last-minute prep sessions before competition. And we even offer our unique choreography consult critiques. These are designed just for the choreographers, teachers, and studio owners. Instead of focusing on the dancers and the feedback, your IDA judge will do a deep dive into dissecting your choreographic elements, from concept to transitions to formations and storytelling. Want to learn more about our online critique service? Then head to our website at impactdanceadjudicators.com/online critiques or click the link in the show notes to submit your video and see exactly why IDA's online critiques are the most trusted in the industry. I think transparency is key when it comes to what the fundraiser is for and where those funds are going. So how does that work logistically? I know that you mentioned nonprofit. Megan, I know that Christine, you said something about licenses earlier. So how does that work when it comes to a group fundraiser through a studio? Is the studio even like name business attached to that? Or is it just like a volunteer parent group? And then how do the funds get distributed evenly? Or, what if it's not going in just to like a fun pool where you're going to have a scholarship? What if it does want to go towards, this is going to cover my solo entry fee, or this is going to cover my costume expense? What are the logistics of that?
Yeah. So it's important to decide how you want it set up. So a booster club is really the route to go, in my opinion. And the laws are different in every state. So for Pennsylvania, to be able to get a game of chance license, you need to be in effect for a year, a nonprofit with bylaws.
Oh.
Then you are able to apply for this game of chance license so you can do raffles. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to wait a year to fundraise. You can do things that aren't game of chance, like selling products, or you can do a babysitting night, or I saw one person, one group, they did something where they worked with like a waste company and they got a bunch of dumpsters, and they did like you paid a fee and you could drop off
like
if
your
you
junk.
have your junk, and you could just drop it off to the dumpsters. And
nice.
I guess the company donated the dumpsters to them. So they made full profit. So just because you don't have the game of chance yet doesn't mean that you can't start fundraising. It just can't be certain types of fundraising. So I always recommend, if your studio wants to start fundraising, first thing you should do is set up a booster club that's nonprofit, so you can start on that year. And it's very important to have bylaws as well, because they ask for them when you go to apply for the license. Then you get a game of chance license, which allows you to do the raffles and do all of that. And it has lots of rules that comes with it that you just need to make sure, like, for instance, on the ticket, every ticket needs to be numbered. And the ticket that the person keeps has to have the same number as the ticket that's handed in. It has to have the game of chance license number on it, what the prize is. So there's lots of rules that come with that. And then also you have to have, if you're going to do bingos, an additional bingo license as well.
Wow.
But you can buy these licenses for the whole year, or you can buy just a 1 month license.
One-off.
Yeah. So you can pick, like, okay, we know we do a lot of fundraising, so we will get the game of chance for the whole year. Where others, may just be, okay, we're only going to do one, so we'll just get it for a month.
Right.
It's more cost effective that way.
And I just want to chime in and mention to our listeners that none of this is legal advice. Our lovely guests are speaking from experience. So if you are looking into doing these things, please consult a legal advisor in your state.
Definitely.
We love a disclaimer.
When you're looking at a nonprofit, becoming a 501c3, finding that legal advice too, because there are so many particulars that go into that we haven't yet. We would want to, but every time we start, the season comes up.
So then you got to rehearse and you got to buy the costumes
all things. So, but just knowing from our other business, needing to have a board and a specific account, I would find somebody who is well-versed in that, who can help you with that. And then having a 501c3 is going to be beneficial in many ways, because we've tried to do like those restaurant fundraisers, like come into our restaurant and you get 10% of the profit that night, whatever it is. You can't do that unless you have a 501c3.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's deeper than just let's sell some Krispy Kremes. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot that goes into all kinds of fundraising, obviously.
It depends on the type. I don't want to
Yeah.
discourage anyone like that,
Sure.
you can't at all. It's just if we do find more profit from when we're giving away prizes though. That's
Mm.
people want, a chance at something. So we have found
Yeah.
found much more it's been more beneficial to go that route and get the game of chance license.
It feels like too, I mean, I've contributed a lot to those kind of fundraisers in, with people I know in the area. And even you can even contribute from out of state. It's like I've got friends in Georgia who have kids that dance, and I'm like, here's my $20 for this raffle ticket. Maybe I'll win it. Like, and then it's just easier to do that sometimes than to like go to your bake sale. If I'm not at your event, I can't go to your bake sale, but I can contribute to your raffle, as a consumer from anywhere.
So I'm sitting here thinking about, obviously these are really creative ways on how to raise money for a specific activity or even as an individual. But how is this different than a GoFundMe? Is it more because it's fun and there's potential to win and there's a prize and there's a gift attached? Or could individuals at a studio set up their own GoFundMe account and say, we need help with expenses. Can anyone help donate? Do we see, are they similar? Are they different? Anything to share?
Can they? Yeah, I don't see why not. I've never done a GoFundMe, but I think sometimes they do. They just don't call it a GoFundMe. They might do the sponsor my calendar, sponsor my uniform. Like, have you seen those pictures on social media? And it's like their uniform is blocked off and like $10 gets me a sleeve and $20 gets me a
Really?
And so, so
it's cute.
I think that it's cute. And I think it is a GoFundMe in a sense without setting up a GoFundMe account necessarily.
Got it.
As a mom and as a teacher, I don't want our dancers just posting on Facebook or really our parents saying, hey, help us. I want everything to be a learning opportunity and a growing opportunity. So our big fundraiser that we did for the first time this year was a sponsor our company fundraiser, where this was just specifically for our company dancers. They did not have to participate, but they could. And they went out into businesses, kind of like I did with dance team in high school, but they asked friends and family and businesses, hey, $50. We will put your logo on our website. We will put your name on a shirt. So we had company shirts made. And then on the back, it said, thank you for sponsoring us. And then we had levels. So $100, your logo goes on our shirt. And $50, your name gets printed on our shirt. And we wear those shirts at every convention, every community appearance, and then every competition. So then it's advertising for them. So then those companies can write it off in that way. But I was very specific with my dancers, and especially my daughter, right? Because I'm a mom. Other moms can do different things. But in our rules, we said, I want you to go ask. And I want you to write a handwritten thank you note when you are done. So not just, hey, I'm pulling money, but I want you to go learn. So for my daughter, she's the one who had to go in and ask the companies. So we want, and we live in a small town. So a lot of the businesses that we used were friends and family or people that we just knew, people that we had used for business ourselves. So my two daughters, so my 9-year-old and my 5-year-old would walk into the businesses together with their form that we had given to dancers to say, this is the informational you're going to hand the companies. And I wanted my girls to use their voice and to be confident in themselves and say, I'm on the Activated Arts company team. Would you consider sponsoring us? These are the levels. My daughters would say, I'm doing solos and duets and group dances, and we would really appreciate your support. And for the most part, I don't know that they ever got told no, but when you're cute and you're wearing your dance jacket,
course. You're like $50 easy.
No to. It's really easy to be told no to on social media because you can just keep scrolling.
That's true.
But when you're walking into a business, number one, you're building character development, but it's a lot harder to say no to.
Yeah.
And so that was our most successful. And I'm hoping, our dancers kind of learned a little bit. And so we had a chart that we made our dancers fill out, like a Google Doc of who they asked. So we didn't have dancers asking the same businesses. And also, if you are a family who owned a business, not to have other dancers go ask that business. And then you had to mark yes or no. Did you write your handwritten thank you note and deliver it? That was important to me as a mom and a teacher. Like I didn't want this just to be a collect money thing. I wanted you to be able to learn something from it.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. I mean, I just got married and I'm in the midst of writing all the thank you notes because, it's a little something, it's a little thing from the past that not everybody does anymore. But when you get a handwritten thank you note, even for something like a $50 donation, like it just feels good and it feels like the right thing to do. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's kind of a lost art. Like nobody who handwrites thank you notes anymore, really.
Yeah.
It's a special touch that I'm glad to see that like you are instilling in your kids, in your students, to remind them that like not everything needs to be typed up on a computer and messaged, and it doesn't feel as genuine and I don't know. I mean, I love getting handwritten notes. It's just the time it took someone to, and also have your personal touch of your own cursive, which I don't think kids learn anymore, but handwriting, I'd say.
Yeah.
So that's really great.
Yeah. And even what a skill to teach your kid. Like how many kids right now know how to write a handwritten thank you note? So it's just another skill to add to your box that you know how to do now.
Totally.
Right. Well, and that it's just not, like, okay, we dance. Why does anybody care? Why should business A care that I dance? Well, it's because I came in and I explained to them what I do. And there's like that community building. And then there's the thank you. Like it's all part of one big circle of like a community. And especially in a smaller town, it's like, your daughter might go work for that company one day as a part-time job, so it's all about community.
Yeah. And we're representing our community, right? Like we are part of of Kansas and our town, and we are going out and representing it. And we hope that we're representing it well. And now we can, now we're advertising for you. So we're really representing our town.
Right. So I'm curious, and I don't feel like that we need to share like numbers, but I'm just curious to give some perspective to our listeners out there to just hear like success stories of the fundraising just personally based on maybe last season or the season before or whatever it may be. And obviously, as we know, every season's different with what it looks like as far as how many events are we attending, how many dances are our dancers in, what are we fundraising for. But based on your efforts, what have you seen come from the fundraising? How much did it truly help you in your dance season, pay off particular expenses, or help fund your dancer's hobby?
For us, if you were to participate in the 5 fundraisers that we put out this year, so we did in September sportsman raffle event. We're doing the gift card raffle now. We do Super Bowl squares in January. In March, we'll do a bingo. And in May, we'll do a Wild Wild West, which is like a night at the races meets sportsman's raffle type thing. And you bet on horses. But if you do all 5, you most likely will bring in around 1,000 to 2,000 for the year.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's significant.
Yeah. It's very helpful. It depends on different factors.
Right.
Though a lot of things come into it. You hope to make that much, but I think that's a solid number. I think it could be higher than that depending, how the events go. But I think it's just good planning and finding what's right for your area. Right? Like those work for us, but other things may work better. There might not be a cow place that you can go buy a cow, So it's really important to be willing to try out different fundraisers and figuring out what works for you and knowing that it's not going to work for everyone. Like there's ones that we don't get to do, which I hear are great, where a lot of the sports teams, like even minor sports teams and major sports teams, you can go and volunteer at their concession stands and you get money back for volunteering at their stands. So you essentially get paid for it. And I'm not quite sure how that works, but I've heard people being very profitable from those. Like we have a team, it's about an hour away, but it's a minor league baseball team. And a lot of parents I know who live up that way will do the volunteering so that they get money back for, their dance world or cheer world or whatever it may be.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is cool.
We know people, we're about 20 minutes from a major D1 university. And so there are clubs and organizations in our town that will go and they run the concession stand for that event. And so they don't have to bring their own stuff. They just have to work it. And so I think there's always pros and cons to every fundraiser that you do. I know that one, the one thing that I hear is if you want to do it, you have to do every event for that season. So if you do football, it's a big commitment and it's a long day.
Yeah.
And so for us, it wasn't worthwhile to do that because it would just take, like, we don't have the weekends or the
Sure.
weeknights to give to coming to, although we love this university. So would it be great to go to the football games all the time? Yeah. But it's just that time commitment of being able to be there, like so many hours before the game, so many hours after the game, and then throughout the game. But we've had great fundraisers, and we've had fundraisers that have kind of flopped. We, our fundraiser that we did, the company sponsorships, we had a couple girls who raised together like $3,000 or $4,000.
Wow.
Nice.
And then for my girls, we raised about $1,700, which is great. And kind of like what Christine was saying, we mapped out for our families, like, if you're on this team, this is the dances that you're doing. This is the competitions we're going to. This is how much everything costs. So if you're adding it all up, this is what you're going to pay, plus the 2 conventions that we require everybody to go to and the company jacket. So add up your cost and you figure out how much you need. And then we do try and say, like, please don't over fundraise because then what's the point of doing that? And then we sit down and we put it into their accounts for them. So like our online system that we use is where they sign up for classes, pay tuition. So we just put a positive balance into their account. And they might say it can just pull tuition. It can pull, like, that money is just to be in my account for whatever. And if a fee comes up, then we'll just pull it. So then it's not like this is only for a costume. This is only for a competition. It's just in their account and it's used however. So like maybe they have a positive balance of 2,000 and they just let their tuition run out of it. And then when convention comes, they'll charge convention out of it. And when it runs out, it runs out. And then you start putting money back into it. Or you can say, I'm going to come in and charge my tuition every month. So don't use my fundraising money for tuition. I want it like specifically. So that's what my family does. We say we want our money specifically for conventions and competitions because in my brain, that's how I know what we need to pay for.
Yep.
And then I don't have to, when the time comes and they're like, hey, I've got 2 daughters and who are dancing, which this is our first year with 2 daughters dancing and the fundraising, which much more necessary because with just 1 daughter, I was like, it's fine. With 2 daughters, I'm like, oh my gosh, how does anybody pay for this? And one is a mini. So she has, 2 group dances and a solo, but my oldest daughter has several group dances, 2 solos and a duet. And so I'm like, both of them together. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Wow. That's really interesting. And I like that you're able to distribute the funds how you see fit and where you want it to go. If that is competition fees, because you're paying tuition every month no matter what, or you wouldn't even be able to go to that competition, So like the tuition can just be on that auto withdrawal or whatever bill pay, but then the bonus is a competition fee or a costume or a convention. So I feel like that is, in my head, the best way to look at how to use that money, because those almost feel like electives in a way, like bonus things to dance, right? Like your dancer wants to dance and there's a cost to dance, to show up at the studio and take XYZ classes, a monthly tuition. You're paying that no matter what. That might be where people stop and need fundraising for that. But then there's people who are going to take the electives and the bonus opportunities that are involved in the dance studio, which then also may incur in fundraising needs. So yeah, that's great.
And I think you kind of mentioned because it makes fundraising kind of hard, right? Because you're choosing to dance, you're choosing to sign up for these competitions. And, I think sometimes there's this look that like you're choosing to do this. So if you can't pay for it, then maybe don't sign up for this many classes versus. So I think it is a nice balance of how do you fundraise enough without, doing a fundraiser every month. And now it just looks like I'm asking people to pay for my daughter's,
her activities. Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, that's where the GoFundMe, I'm glad you brought that up about the GoFundMe, because I've seen a few of those around where it's like, and that's what I feel when it's a GoFundMe. Yeah. I feel a little like, you could just not do all the solos. You could just take the classes. Right. But when it does involve a little bit more of there's something in it for me, or there's potentially, a give and take of like, I'm supporting you, yet I'm getting a possibility of a prize or banana bread.
Right.
Feels a little bit better. But so you said, how do you, I mean, if it seems like y'all just have very like lovely studios, like everybody sounds nice and like, oh, we're going to fundraise and we're not going to over fundraise. But what happens when you do have a surplus of fundraising if it was an individual who like ended up having an extra $500? Like what happens with that money?
So at our studio, we only allow you to use your fundraising for competition fees, costumes, and travel expenses. We again are in a very small town. We have to travel at least 2 hours to any competition. And we are a team that does nationals every year.
Oh, okay.
And we try to do, every other year, one close. So like this year we're going to the Poconos. Next year, we'll go to Florida, or we may go to Virginia Beach, or we'll travel a little farther every other year. And we don't make it mandatory. So just so we're clear there. But we are, we stick to those things. So by doing that, we stick to the accounts. And then what happens is if someone leaves and they have money left in their account, then that's dispersed between everyone else's account.
Oh, okay.
You forfeit any money that's left, and you carry that money over from year to year. If someone, wants next year to already be ready and set up to go, they will be.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, we just let ours roll over. I don't know that we've really had an instance where there has just been extra funds in somebody's account. But I think in the one instance we let it roll over, or maybe somebody had like a competition refunded fee. And so then like that, when we sign up for that competition, it's just there. And so we ended up just breaking it out of the total. That way it's not just sitting, because maybe that person didn't dance with us anymore. But for some reason we just had this extra money in our account through the certain competition. And so we just had 2 soloists dancing at that competition that year. And so we just took the money from that, subtracted it from their total, and then just, divided it again.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, friends, is there anything we haven't covered? Like we said, we are learning. So is there something we didn't bring up that you think is important for listeners to know?
I think it's really important when you're deciding to do a fundraiser. Number one, how much work is it? And is it beneficial? Because there are times when you're doing a fundraiser and maybe it's a craft sale and you have spent days and hours putting together these crafts and it didn't make you any, or it might have made you money, but how much money did you spend buying all the craft supplies? And so whenever you're deciding what fundraiser to do, make sure it's beneficial for you, something that is going to be quick. It maybe doesn't take that much work and you're going to get a lot of return in exchange. The people who do bake sales and they bake everything. Well, how much did all of your baking supplies cost? How much time did you sit out on the street and sell your food? Whatever it is. If it's beneficial, that's awesome. Maybe you had a grandparent donate the baking supplies or whatever it is. But that's when our owner and myself, or my husband and I, are talking about a fundraiser, that's when we stop and say, well, could I just go work somewhere for 2 hours and make the same amount of money? Why, which is better, the fundraising or maybe just taking a couple extra hours at the office?
Right.
And so, yeah, that's how we have to just sit down and decide.
I think expectations and obligations was the thing that we learned the earliest within fundraising is that, a lot of times you'll hear, well, I did more than they did. Why do they get the same amount of profit and stuff? So, and we did have to learn from that. And one thing I like to say is, you can't always expect what you expect. So I know I'm going to go in hard and fundraise as hard as I can, but others may not. So by setting those expectations right up front and saying, you need to do X, Y, and Z, I think it helps everyone to know what they're going into and know, again, those exceptions across the board. Because a bingo, you have to sell a lot of tickets. You have to then work the event. You have to make baked goods. You have to find sponsors. You have to bring a basket. So that's maybe a lot for a person, but with a raffle, you're just selling 20 tickets. So by setting those expectations from day one before the fundraiser starts, I think has helped us tremendously, because we don't have any ill will from anyone inside the fundraiser, because everyone has the same expectation, or they don't get to get the proceeds from the fundraiser.
Thanks for tuning in to our latest episode all about fundraising in dance. Special shout out to our guests, Christine and Megan, for joining us on this chat. Be sure to follow them on Instagram. You can find Christine at Brocious02 and Megan at Maggie Beth Woods.
Don't forget to follow Making the Impact on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, and pretty much everywhere you listen to podcasts. And if you want more exclusive episodes, support our podcast by joining our Platinum Premium membership for only $5 a month. Subscribers receive free Making the Impact stickers, shout-outs live on the air, ad-free listening, and exclusive access to our Q&A episodes for members only. Join now at impactdanceadjudicators.com/platinum premium or click the link in our show notes.
Be sure to check out IDA affiliated competition, True Dance Challenge. Looking for a competition that values fairness, organization, and excellence? Introducing True Dance Challenge. At True, levels are determined by the judges, not the studios. Adjudicated scores decide the level for each routine, ensuring every dancer competes exactly where they belong. They use DanceBug registration and adjudication software, giving studios, parents, and dancers instant access to programs, live streams, and performance videos right from the app. All judges are pre-screened through Impact Dance Adjudicators. True Dance Challenge is known for being organized, on time, and dancer-focused. Judges receive breaks every 2 hours, schedules arrive 3 weeks in advance, and Friday events never begin before 4 p.m. And cash awards mean real cash, not credits. Solos and duos are even eligible for choreography awards, not just your groups. Award ceremonies start almost immediately after each session, and you'll receive hundreds of free, high-quality photos included in your entry. No mandatory media fees required. True Dance Challenge takes pride in every detail, creating a smooth, fair, and unforgettable competition weekend. Learn more and find an event near you on their website at truedancechallenge.com.
Coming up next on Making the Impact, we've got more throwback episodes, why lyrical should be a priority in your training, and an interview with the ACE Award winner from 2025.
More episodes are coming your way next week. Stay tuned. We'll see you then.